Hey, it's your boy Chango coming at you with another video. This video is stand-up comedy is the new rock and roll, brought to you by We Might Be Drunk Clips. Alright, so I just read the title. It seemed like a fun video for me, right? So I figured, you know what, let's go ahead and do this. So with that being said, let's get right into it.
Well, COVID was a tough time.
Yeah.
I mean, tough time for comedy. You had to go to do video content. Like you did it great. You put out a special, and you just had to get creative. It kind of separated the men from the boys a little bit. Of who's gonna step up and figure something out here.
Just gotta keep working, man. I mean, it's also what else are we gonna do? It's life is so fucking boring without stand-up. I love doing this shit. You also think about what these ancient settlers way back in the day, what did they do for entertainment before they had phones and all this shit? They gathered around and they played music and shit. It's the same thing when you're not allowed to get together. That's why I think we had this boom after COVID. People were like, holy shit, I get to go out again. That's why we were all selling tickets through the roof.
Yes.
And that's why it's kind of, hit a plateau a little bit. But I think it'll come back at some point.
Totally. And I think there was the government's crazy. Just the world got kind of crazy, and so they want to hear us joke about it, which is healthy.
We need that shit.
And I think HR kind of went up. HR went up, fun went down. So comedy. I have a theory. Hold on, buckle up. Tell me what you think about this.
Fucking buckle, dude.
I think I've been watching a lot of these old rock documentaries, like Led Zeppelin and whatnot, Beach Boys. The early 60s is Mad Men. It's buttoned up. It's fucking gel cream or Brill cream in the hair.
Yeah.
It's get a haircut, shave, tuck your shirt in.
Do your job.
Yes. And then it was very Christian, puritanical. And then it became... So then these kids broke out and they're like, I'm getting long hair, I'm rock and roll, I'm free love, I'm fucking everybody,
Nice.
I'm doing acid. And that became this cultural, holy shit, everything's changing. Comedy, rock is dead. Who's going to see, who's the last rock band? The Strokes? That was 15 years ago.
Are there no new rock bands? I mean, I sound like a fucking old person.
I'm sure there are, but they're not what they were. They're not grabbing you by the balls. Look at that.
Wow, that's crazy because everything that comes up is older.
This is old shit.
Yeah.
Green Day, get out of here. Coldplay, I don't even count that as rock. All right, we got some fat lady with dreads. I'm talking about, give me some fucking something that really rocks the nation. So I think comedy came in and just swooped that up because back then, Taboo was... counterculture, the devil having long hair. Yeah, a lot about the devil, leather pants, weird clothes, a beard. Now, Taboo is words. And I think comics come in and say some... I'm not saying you just go up there and go fucked up words, but...
There's also ways that comics can reach their audience in ways that musicians can't because, how many musicians have a podcast? How many musicians are direct to consumer like that? We can only, musicians, how many albums can you put out? Whereas we're the same way. It's a special's what, an hour of a year and a half, 2 years if you're fucking really on top of it, right? But you can kind of do other stuff.
You can do other stuff, and we can talk. I think if you got Metallica in here, it wouldn't be that funny.
I think we got pitched somewhere. I think a Metallica guy could probably talk.
I would like to have Metallica in,
but they don't need to either. They're probably just I'll tour and just make way more money.
But to your point,
but they're grandfathered in.
They're grandfathered in.
It's like what you're talking about.
You get Theo in here, and he's riffing and raffing, he's bullshitting, it's funny. Yeah. So you can grab an audience now. You got a parasocial relationship.
Oh. I paused it because I was about to say some shit, and then it ended. I didn't realize it was only not even a 4-minute video, so here we are. That made me forget what I was gonna say, but one of the things that I liked about Joe Rogan, right? That dude was or is pretty entertaining, right? And it's the guests, not necessarily that he's entertaining, but some of the guests that he has on. you know, you'll have people, passionate people about shit. You'll have scientists and come in and talk about sciencey shit, right? I remember he had this chick that was talking about bees, right? And it's like, and she was kind of cute if I remember right. But she was sitting there talking about bees and she's passionate about it. And like, you know, 2-3 hour podcast talking about bees. You know? Like, and if it was 5 hours long, she'd still be talking about it, right? That's how passionate she is. But there's a difference between passion and being funny and being entertaining. Not necessarily being funny, but being entertaining, right? Like if you can sit there and talk about shit, but you're not entertaining, it can be a snooze fest sometimes. And that's the problem with some of the Rogan videos. Like he's had some scientists talking about fucking black holes and all this dumb shit. And it's just like, I don't know, man. Some people just aren't entertaining. The prime example of this is he had the guy from, he got abducted by aliens. They made a movie about it in the 90s. I want to say it was like Fire in the Sky or something. And like, I'm sorry, but like if that shit happened to me, right? I would like to think that I have an entertaining story, right? Like how can you not? I feel like the average, like if I met someone out at the bar and he starts telling me how he got abducted by aliens, like, holy wow, right? Even if he's making this shit up, I would be completely entertained by it, right? I'd fucking buy him some drinks. I'd want to hang out with him for the next week, right? Let me hear some more about them fucking aliens, right? But for some reason, that fucker was on Joe Rogan, and I like, that was just the most boring dude ever. And then there's people that don't really have a good story, but they're entertaining. And they just, you know, they're fun to talk to. They're fun to watch. They're fun to, you know, just like be around, right? And again, I get all that to say, it's like you have these rock stars on there. But if they're not entertaining, who the fuck wants to watch that, right? Like you have to have a special personality to be able to just have a podcast be 3 hours long and people just sit there and listen, right? And he said, like, and he was saying like 60s, you know, you had a button-up suit. 70s, you had the long hair and fuck you and all that shit. You had the hippies and all that shit. And now you have comedy, right? But I don't know, man. Part of me thinks like comedy's going too political now. And I don't want to hear that shit. You got guys like, what is it, Jack Johnson, I think, that black dude with the dreads. He's far left. He's always talking about woke shit. And then you have Rogan talking about shit on the right and fucking, I don't know, man. I don't want to hear it. Your boy Chango does not want to hear politics. Especially when I'm trying to have a good time and I'm trying to laugh and smile and all that shit. Chango smiles for a reason, right? And the last thing I want to hear is what your political beliefs are. Fuck off with that shit, right? Just make me laugh. Entertain me, right? And, you know, I remember like they were talking about COVID. Like during COVID, I was so bored, right? I wanted to get out and do shit. And then once they started opening shit up, I was like, God, this is fucking awesome, right? I miss this. And now things are back to normal. And it's just like, you know, I feel like we take that for granted and we forget sometimes. But I just had this conversation with a coworker, like, yesterday actually, and about how shitty COVID was. And I'm sure we all have stories, just like we all have stories about what happened in 9/11. You know, I still remember what I was doing. I remember like the setting and all of that, and that was like a big deal, right? That changed the world. And now fast forward however many years, and then you had COVID, right? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just fucking speaking my 2 cents, right? Like and subscribe if you haven't clicked away. Like, holy shit, you just heard me say all this shit and you didn't click away. that means you are the real MVP. Fuck yeah. Team Chango for the win. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And hit the little Taco Bell button so that way you get notified every time I post some dumb shit. You know, sometimes you just gotta think outside the button, right? Hook your brother up. Go ahead and hit that button. And it's free right now. I'm running a special, right? It's free if you like. Free if you subscribe. And I'm also throwing in the little notification bell. Fuck yeah. Anyways, that's all I really got. You guys take care. Peace out.